now? Can you guys hear me now? I can see the microphone's working, so hopefully it is working for you guys as well. Okay, perfect. I don't know why I think my headphone fell off a little and it got disconnected. I'll keep that in mind. But like I said, we're going to be talking about makeup brushes, my professional kits, and my personal kits. I don't have my fast drying solution, so I'll Google a picture of that so you guys can see it. And then I don't have my powder puffs. So we talk about all things makeup brushes. I talk about beauty blenders, how to clean them, all that fun stuff. And then you guys don't have to keep your questions towards the end. I'd like to keep the Q&A section up for myself so we can kind of have like a discussion while I'm going through the makeup brushes. So that way we're kind of having like a cool convo with each other. Just a little backstory on me for anybody that is new to this seminar. My name is Lilly Jamoua. I am a local Chicago makeup artist and a licensed esthetician. I predominantly do wedding makeup, so I'm always booked on the weekends. I do bridal, and then I do esthetician work like facials, laser hair removal, stuff like that on the weekdays. So I kind of do seminars based on all of those things. I do base a lot of the makeup on like everyday looks or more like consumer based looks, something that's easy for you guys to do or, fast for you to achieve. So that way, if you're on set or need to do something like on the go, you guys are able to do that. And then for skincare, I do skincare 101 classes. I've done in-depth classes for different steps in your skincare routine. So that way you guys are knowledgeable and you guys take care of your skin because that's like super duper important, especially in this field in acting and anything that's on camera. Your skin has to look amazing. Okay. And when you do need your skin to look amazing, that means you guys need to take care of it. So I always keep reiterating that to you guys almost every seminar. Okay, so we'll get started. So not all makeup brushes are created equally, but you can use makeup brushes for the same kind of like thing, but with different brushes. So like you can use so many different brushes for eye makeup. However, you can also use just one brush for your eye makeup and you can be doing like 50,000 different things. Okay. So I did have a wedding this past weekend and I had a couple of makeup trials. So there are a bit of makeup brushes missing out of this because they're in my little cleaning case. So I don't ever use dirty brushes on people. I have like a little holder while I'm doing makeup. And as I'm using them, I put those brushes in the holder. I don't put it back into my clean container. And at the end of that makeup look, I take all those brushes and I put them in my to clean bag. So they're all in a bag waiting to get cleaned. However, these are all cleaned and sanitized. And so, especially after this, I'm going to have to re-sanitize them because I'm going to be touching them, but it's okay. Oh, sorry, my light. Okay. So this is let me actually take off my blur because this is going to be really annoying for the rest of the seminar. And don't mind my cats in the background. Okay. Okay. So this is my professional makeup kit. So there are things in the little pockets on each side and then the front, but this is all of my makeup brushes. There's a lot missing from the back, but those all need to be cleaned. This would be completely filled. I don't know if you guys have been to my seminar before when I've done this, but you guys have seen it filled before. So there are 6 compartments in this thing. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a little foam thing that separates all of them. And I've separated them in a way that works for me and that is easy for my eyes to catch so that it's easy for me to just grab and go. Okay. So in this little section in the front, these would be all my detailed brushes. So any brushes that are super small, again, for details. This is more so my eye brushes, all my fluffy brushes, anything that's used for the eyes. This is the start of anything that is a cream or a liquid. So I use a lot of these for like concealers or foundations. Above that, sorry, right here are my bigger foundation, concealer, anything cream, liquid brushes. These are my powder brushes. So like my face powder brushes. And then these are all my body brushes. So I use these for body makeup or anything like that. These are huge brushes that are used for the body. Like this one in the back is huge. Okay. So I'll go over each little brush that I think is important for you guys to know about and that you guys will see in the world of makeup. And I'll explain a little bit about it. So I'm going to go in my section for the detailed brushes, I'm going to pull out almost every brush that looks like this, but is a little bit different. And I will explain what it is. So the first brush would be called a flat oval brush. These are used to apply liquid or cream concealers, any type of contouring, blush, anything that's a cream or a liquid. You know that because there are white bristles, which are synthetic bristles on the brush, which means synthetic bristles don't absorb any product, even though they still absorb. But what they're made for is to deposit the liquid and not keep it into the brush. And then these, if you do see orange bristles, that just means that they're also synthetic, and it's all synthetic. But these are used for more detailed areas, like really carving out the nose, if I want to contour the nose, you know, any type of like color correction or pimples, and then just, you know, really able to use concealer in smaller areas. So this would be a flat oval brush, and you would use these mostly for like concealers. You can put your foundation on with this. It would just take forever. But if you just apply a little bit and then you blend it out with the beauty blender, you can do that too. And yeah, you put contour on with these if you want like a really precise line, or you want a line right underneath your chin. Same thing with blush, if you just want to apply blush. Because like for me, when I'm doing makeup, I don't have a brush for every step. Sometimes I use the same, like I use the foundation brush for like everything. If I apply foundation on you, I usually use that brush for like blush or contour, whatever it may be. You know, I just keep using it. So these are them. If you guys have any questions or anything, or want to have combos, you guys can do so in the Q&A section. Okay. Next brush is going to be, you do this one. These are what we consider very detailed brushes for eye makeup. I just want to try to get different ones, but that do the same thing. Okay. So this is what you would consider an eye detailed brush. So I use these little brushes to blend out the eyeshadow underneath the eye. But you could, again, use these for so many different things. If you want to just use it to go and do like a really quick shadow liner, and you want to go like up against your lash line, you could totally use these brushes. You could see that they're all kind of made differently, but you can use them for the same purpose. This one has longer bristles, so that means it's not as tightly like packed, so it's a little bit loose. These are very short, so these are going to be pretty tight. So they'll deposit a lot more color. And this one's kind of in the middle. This one has a white tip, meaning the white tip is synthetic. You could use powders on synthetic bristles, but you could also use like concealer with it too. So I don't understand the question. To use them for clown movies? I don't know what that means. I don't do makeup on movies. I'm a bridal makeup artist, like I said before. And so you would use these on eyeshadow on your eyes. They're detailed brushes for eyes. So you can use them for eyeshadow underneath the eye. You can use it to smudge out the liner on your lash line, stuff like that. So those are cool. Those are used very often. And then we'll talk about liner brushes. I have so many different types of liner brushes. Let's see if I can, no, I can't find it. Oh, I found it. Okay. I think that's it. Yes. Okay. So these are all of my liner brushes, meaning I use these for liquid liner, pencil liner, anything that's like eyeliner based, or I'm using it for any type of precision line making. These are the brushes I'm using. So we have like a regular, very small, flat brush, but it's very thin. We have more of an angled brush. Again, super duper thin. This is a lot more wide than you're probably used to, but I really like this brush instead of smaller angled brushes. I feel like smaller angled brushes tend to, like the hairs, the bristles tend to fray so that you can't get like as much of a straight line as you used to when it was new. This is a bigger flat brush. I love using these. These are a lot of fun to use for eyeliner. And then we have almost like they're like paint brushes, but they're for eyeliner. So very, very thin, very much like an art brush. This one is super duper thin. And I use this more so at the end. So when I want that like beautiful line, like it really does the work for you. So these are all different types of liner brushes. And I have so many different ones because I've realized that all of these work for me when I'm doing makeup, depending on the eye shape. Eye shapes really do matter when it comes to eyeliner, and especially like if you're doing a winged liner. I'll be very honest, not everybody can pull off a winged eyeliner, nor should they, because their eye shape does not support it, if that makes any sense. Sometimes your eye shape can make, or sometimes the liquid or the winged liner can make your eye shape look more dramatic than it actually is. Like sometimes with people who have hooded lids, which means that the skin on top of their lid, which is this, hangs over a lot more, so you don't really see the lid at all. They have less space for you to put a winged liner. And sometimes if you don't put on the liner correctly for those eye shapes, you can make the eye look droopy because the line will come down here instead of stay up here and really bring the eyes up like and stretch them up. So these are all different types. And honestly, a winged liner or any type of eyeliner takes so much practice. Don't be hard on yourself if you don't know how to do it very well. It's something that is like a craft. You need to practice it to be able to, feel like you're good at it, especially doing it on people you've never met before, have never seen before. You have to kind of know how to finesse a line. But yeah, these are all different types of eyeliner brushes. And then other types of detailed brushes that I have in here that are like almost like honorable mentions. I don't always use them, but they're in here if I do need them. Oh, sorry. Okay, so this is a bigger angled brush. I would just use this and like pick up some powder, loose powder, and really like if I need to bake the nose where I've contoured it or bake underneath the eye to really make the eyeliner look way more dramatic, I'll use something like this. Here is a lip brush. Nowadays you use those like disposable guys, and that's what I use. But if I ever do need a lip brush to kind of like blend things out for like liner or something, I use a lip brush. These are also eye brushes. So these are more detailed eye brushes. Like you could use this one to really smudge out a liner. If you put on like a pencil liner, you can definitely smudge that out with this because it's so thickly it's so thick, right? There's so many bristles, so it's very stiff. So that means like you have more control. Same thing with this one, it's just a little bit smaller. And then we have eyebrow brushes, which is just a brush that you apply either like a pomade eyebrow gel or an eyebrow powder. So it comes with an angled brush on this side, and they have a synthetic tip because sometimes you could use it with a pomade, which is more of like a clay type of feeling. So it's not a powder. And then at the end, this is how you know it's an eyebrow brush because it has these spoolies at the end, which is like a brush. So you use it to brush up the hairs, brush through the product that you use because you can blend it out that way. So always know that this is what an eyebrow brush is going to look like if you ever are in the stores to buy one. Okay. And then, another fun honorable mention. Then we have these things called spatulas that I use because I do not double dip in my products, meaning if I have a palette full of different creams, cream colors, cream foundations, cream contours, whatever it is, I don't take the brush that I've already put on someone else's skin into my product. I scrape the product with what we call makeup spatulas like this. So sometimes they have like little round guys at the bottom, and then these very thin metal spatulas at the ends. So you would scrape up the product and you would put it on your palette, kind of like a painter does. And that is where you'll dip your makeup brush in, because if you don't do that, you are cross-contaminating and you are contaminating your whole palette and you can't use it on other people. So that's why, like, when you have your own makeup, you don't really want to share because it's not clean. You can get a lot of different infections that way. Pink eye can spread through makeup products and makeup brushes, and also styes. If you've ever had a stye before, if you had a stye and you just had your makeup done, that person's makeup's not clean. Okay. So we're going to move on to eyeshadow brushes. So super fun. We'll talk about, which are the fluffy brush that everybody knows about. Everyone has seen them. You probably have one. If not, your palette came with one. So these are what we call eyeshadow brushes, and they are fluffy brushes. So these are what we use to blend out any eyeshadow, to blend out, like, you know, if you want eyeshadow all over your eye, these are what you would use. And obviously you can see they come in different colors. They're all synthetic brushes, but sometimes makeup lines like to use white bristles because they have different kind of like makeup brush families, like they have kits. So all like the same makeup brushes will have white and the other ones will have black and the other ones will have white and black. So it's like an aesthetic thing. It doesn't really mean much, but they all are made differently. Like this one is a little bit more pointy. These two are kind of made the same, but one is shorter than the other. And then this one is just a regular, this one's kind of in the middle of these two. And it has less bristles. So you can see how thick the white ones are compared to this. That means you'll get way less pigment when you're putting on eyeshadow with that. Then we have flat eyeshadow brushes, which look like this. And these are, you can also blend with these, but these are really used for putting any type of eyeshadow on your lid, putting on like a shimmer on your lid or anything with like glitter in it. These are what those are used for. This one's a lot shorter. So this one I would use more for like shimmers or any type of glitter because it will really pack on the color. And then these are to blend or to just make sure that I have like a really nice, you know, wash of the color on my lids. Hey, I don't know why this keeps turning off. I'm so sorry about that. And then we'll move on to like the liquid foundation type of brushes, concealer brushes. So you saw the other concealer brushes, the flat oval ones. I also love to use fluffy brushes for concealers because I just feel like it gives more of an airbrushed look. So these I would use for concealer. So you can see how the shape is flat on one side. This one is not. This one is just round all over. But you could use this to like tap out your concealer or to blend the concealer if it's gotten really underneath your eye and creating creases. And same thing with this one. You see how it has a flat edge. That way it's fitting perfectly underneath the crevice of your eye. So I love to use these to blend out any concealer, to really buff out the concealer on the outside of my skin, whatever it may be. I use these guys for liquid concealers. And concealer is something you put underneath your eye to cover your eye bags if we don't know what that is. Then we have the brushes we would use for liquid foundation, cream foundation, stuff like that. And these are all literally the most different type of brushes you can possibly find. So a lot of the times I will use a flat oval brush like this to apply the foundation, kind of like a paintbrush, and then blend it out with a beauty blender. So you can do that, or you can apply it and then tap it in, and that will blend it out as well. So that's a flat oval brush, and it's a big brush, kind of like the concealers I showed you, but way bigger for the face. Then we have something like this, which has a lot less bristles at the top. So that means you're going to get a lot less product when you're putting it on, and you can really buff your foundation on it, and it gives you more of that natural finish when it's something like this. Or again, you can always just apply it with this and then blend it out with a beauty blender. This brush I honestly predominantly use for contouring or bronzer. So it's really, really nice to get into this little crevice of the face. And because there's so many bristles and it's so packed tightly, that means I have so much control and so much, like, I can really pounce this into the skin and really get a good blend, because it's going to be in a concentrated area because the bristles are not moving, if that makes any sense. You want to think about the same thing with this. Super duper packed with bristles. And when I'm putting on my foundation with this, and I like it to be smaller so I have more control, you're not really going to be moving around the product a lot. It's going to be really concentrated in those places. So these are going to have a lot of pigment when you're putting on makeup. Okay. And then the bigger foundation brushes I like to use, which honestly, they're not that much bigger. It's just that they're taller in length. So I put them in the back. We have a brush like this, which kind of looked like that other brush, but this has way more bristles. So it's a lot thicker. So again, you'll have way more control, but you'll have so much more pigment with this. This is a lot less packed with bristles, but there are a lot of them. However, this will give you that nice airbrush finish when you're using a lot less product. And then this is what I love to use. If I don't want to use, sometimes you can't use beauty blenders on people. Here's why. So I have some brides that may get some redness on their cheeks or have natural rosacea, which is redness of the skin. And in order for me to really cover that, beauty blenders tend to pick up product when you're using it on your skin because it's wet. And so when that happens, the redness tends to come back through, and it kind of, like me putting on foundation, kind of defeats the whole purpose. But if I'm putting on the foundation with something like this, and I'm really pouncing in that product like a beauty blender, but with a brush like this that's not wet, I get super duper full coverage. And I can, use less product than more and still get like that really good coverage because I'm using something like this to blend it out. Again, very, very dense bristles, doesn't really move very easily. So it's very concentrated, and it's a bigger brush, so it will really cover a lot of surface area. This is like my favorite brush. This is like my holy grail. If I don't have that, and I usually use this for a bride because we want to have like a flawless skin for a bride. So I don't always like use a beauty blender on her, maybe under the eyes, but not a lot. So we're moving on to our powder brushes. So I use a couple different face brushes. Well, they look different, but they all kind of do the same thing, to be honest. So these are my bigger fluffy brushes for the face. They're all shaped differently, look different, but they all kind of do the same thing. I like that they are not super packed with bristles, except for this one, which with this one, I don't really do like swiping motions. I do more patting. This hat is like way looser. Like you can really get a good sheen look with that. This one's a little bit less, and same thing with this one. But again, they all kind of do the same thing. They deposit that powder where you need it. I don't use a lot of powder anyway, so it's not like that big of a deal. You don't want to pack it on too heavy because you can't really take away. You always want to do less and add more. These are called tulip brushes because they kind of look like tulips, or they're in the shape of a tulip. I like to use these in smaller areas with more of like a translucent powder. So I love to use these underneath the eye to set my concealers, to set like my T-zone, also to get into here, these little areas around the nose, because they're so like small, but they're also not too densely packed. So it really it's like in the middle. So it gets a lot of powder on there and where you need it. Okay, and then we'll move on to the body brushes. So I literally just use these to apply like body glow, body makeup. They're just like really large brushes. So that way, like if I'm trying to do the chest, like I can cover a lot of surface area, and then I don't have to work on it for like 5 years because I have a really small brush. Do we have any questions about my professional kit thus far? I'll show you what I have in these pockets. So in this side, I have eye tape, which means like tape to put on the eye to kind of like give you a liner, like, more of like a trace, not a trace, but like a guide. I have some clips for hair, and then I also have under eye guards on this side. On this side, I have my business cards and then toupee tape, which you'd be very surprised if people don't have garment tape or like tape. Like women use tape to make sure that no one's like their top doesn't come down or, anything like that. And toupee tape works really well for that. And then in here is just extra eyeliner and then a makeup light. I think one more thing, I don't know what's in there. But do we have any questions about my professional kit thus far? Okay, I'll move on then. Then we have my personal kit, which is literally just in here. And I'll be honest with you, I just went on vacation and I'm pretty sure I put makeup in here as well because I don't need that much makeup. Yep, I have makeup in here as well, but I'll show you. These are all of my brushes and I don't even use like majority of these. I literally probably use 2 of them and that's about it. These are all in my personal kit, which are very dirty and I apologize in advance. So I have like a tulip brush, a smaller tulip brush. I hardly use them. And put them away as I'm talking to you so I don't get them dirty, more dirty than they already are. This is my foundation brush, which is like one of those like looser packed brushes. This is a concealer brush that I use just because I have thinner skin underneath my eyes. So you tend to see my veins and my dark circles very easily. So I really like to have like more full coverage under my eye. And I can use such little product with this guy and really get like good coverage without having it look like I'm wearing makeup underneath my eye. So I love this brush. And then just a few fluffy brushes, just in case I want to do some eyeshadow. I also use bronzer as eyeshadow. So if you don't have like a whole eyeshadow kit, you can totally just use your bronzer. And then this is my favorite kit that I've gotten so far through Amazon. I took, the plunge and I bought it by Jessup, Jessup. Let me see if I can get that on camera for you. And I highly suggest this kit because like it's super, super fun. It's super like consumer friendly. Some of them are dual-sided, meaning they have 2 sides. So that way you don't have to buy as many brushes. So like this is the eyebrow brush because remember spoolie at the end. This is what I use for like concealer or foundation. It has like that same look as my favorite brush that's in my kit. And then there's a smaller side. There's a powder brush. So this is the smaller brush. This is the bigger side. This is the smaller side, almost like the tulip I was telling you about. And then we have eyeshadow brushes. So we have the fluffy brushes. One's almost looks like the flat shader brush. And then this is the more fluffy one. And then we have the detailed flat brush. And then another detailed flat brush. But this one's thinner than this one. This one's a little thicker. So love this kit. Again, I got it on Amazon for like $30. So like if you are ever wondering, like those are a lot of brushes, I don't know if I can buy those all individually. You could buy a whole kit off Amazon, and I love those. If you just look up makeup brushes on Amazon, that will probably be one of the first 2 that comes up because it's so popular. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen a beauty blender. However, I don't use the actual brand beauty blender on my clients because those beauty blenders are $20 each, and I throw mine away after I use it on someone because it's not clean to clean them and reuse them on somebody else. You can clean yours and reuse it on you, but for my clients, I do not do that. So I get mine off of Amazon, Shein, anything that's like more inexpensive, and they all kind of work the same. And so I just put them in a Ziploc, and when I'm out of the field, like if I need one, I can grab one. But what I like to do is actually cut them in half so I can get more bang for my buck. But these are a bunch of beauty blenders. You do need to wet it completely. Like it needs to be saturated and completely strained out. So it's kind of damp and like softer to the touch to use it. You could use them dry. However, I wouldn't because it's like hard and uncomfortable. And also sometimes it doesn't blend things out very nicely. So you always want to keep that in mind. To clean makeup brushes. So I shampoo my brushes, meaning every time I use a makeup brush on someone, it goes into my dirty bag. And then weekly, I take my brushes and I sanitize my area. And I take my brushes and I clean them with a makeup brush shampoo or like a Dawn dish soap. I really, really like massage it in, get all of the makeup out of it, and really rinse it very well. And then I lay them flat so that they can dry. You don't ever want them to sit upwards while they're wet because the water will seep down into the brush, ruin the brush. Like the handle will come off, the glue will all kind of come apart. So you don't want to do that. You want to lay them flat. And then after they're dry, I spray them down with 70% alcohol and let that dry on its own completely. You want to use 70% of alcohol because you want more water to be in there, because you want the alcohol to evaporate more slow than fast. If you use 90%, which I think you can buy that at Walgreens, it will evaporate too quickly. And so the bacteria or anything that's left on the brush will not die. You want to use 70% so that way everything can kind of do its job properly before you put it in your kit. So I did bring just 70% alcohol. You use, I spray 70% alcohol on everything. For my lip liners or eyeliners, before I even do anything on a client, I spray with alcohol and then I sharpen it and then I spray it again, let it dry, and then I use it on them. That's how you sanitize those. And then I do have, I'll see if I can Google them and then I will share my screen. So there is a fast drying makeup brush cleaner. And all of that means is that you can use it very, very like fast and efficiently. And the solution dries. You don't have to rinse it or anything like that. So this is what it looks like. It's called Cinema Secrets. You can buy it anywhere. You can buy it from Ulta, Amazon. I think you can get it Sephora too. So all you have to do is dip your brush or spray your brush with the solution. Do like a round motion on a paper towel or just a regular cloth towel, and everything on your brush will come off. And it's also disinfecting. And if you don't feel like it disinfects anything, you can always spray 70% alcohol on your brush afterwards as well. So this is something I have in my kit. You don't clean makeup brushes with this, like for my next wedding or my next client. However, if I'm out and I'm like, hey, I need that one brush because I like to use that on people and it gives me the best result, I will quickly clean it with that to use it on the next person. It's still sanitizing, but not like shampooing it in between each person. You know what I mean? And it's fast too. If I'm out in the field and I need something quick to clean, like a brush or something, because it's quick drying, that's the way to go. And then let me do powder puffs so I can show you. I use powder puffs to set the under eyes. People use them to bake underneath the eye like this. Oh, wait, what was it? Like some people use it to blend out their foundations. It is more of it's like a fabric. I don't know what it's made out of, but it's very flexible. So some people like to use it with powder, some people don't. This is what you used to see in like compact powders. You still see them, but they just they're not as popular nowadays, but that's what they used to come with. So you can apply the powder. And so now people use it to blend out your foundation, to blend out your powder, to bake, all that fun stuff. Okay, do we have any questions? Because that's it for the makeup brushes. No questions, guys. We'll wrap it up here if we have no questions. You guys have been very quiet for the last 2 weeks. You guys are usually very active and responsive. So I don't know what's been going on. Maybe it was the last minute switch. You guys did not expect to see me today. So I apologize if that was the case. All right. right. Well, then I will wrap up here. Thank you guys so much for being in my seminar around makeup brushes, how to use them, what to use them for, all of that jazz. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the last bits of summer. If you guys have kids starting school, good luck to you all. And yeah, have a great night, guys. Thank you so much.